Guys, Formula One is almost back, and that can mean only one thing. It's time to make our predictions for what's going to happen in 2025 in Formula One. Following a fantastic 2024 with our Community Predictions Championship, we are back once again to kick things off with our season-long F1 predictions. We've been in the lab, we've been in the kitchen, cooking up some bangers, and it's time to let them loose on the world. We're going to be making our predictions for World Champion, World Constructors Champion, our best of the rest in both drivers and in the constructors. We're going to be taking a look at our number of individual race winners. We're going to be talking about how many, if anyone, loses a race seat this year. And following it up, one final prediction is our one crazy prediction for the full year. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic time. I got some predictions from the community that we're going to include here as well. Let's go ahead, let's jump on into it and get this thing underway. But that said, before we do jump into our official predictions, which will be beginning with our pick for World Champion, we're going to talk about our 2025 Community Predictions Championship. We did this last season where each week leading up to a Grand Prix weekend, I made out a call for predictions from you, the community, to be included in not only the predictions video, but also we're going to be doing once again our predictions challenge where we actually tally up number of correct predictions over the course of the season, and whoever ends up with the most at the end of the season takes home the crown. British TTG took home the crown last year by just a handful of points, so it was close basically all season long, and I'm excited to see what we can make happen again this year. So if you're interested in joining our community predictions, head to the link down below, join the Discord, and each weekend leading up to each Grand Prix, I'll put out the same predictions for every week, and we'll see who can cook up the most. Well, let's go ahead. Let's get these 2025 predictions underway. Let's kick things off with our World Champion. Where else to start than our prediction for World Champion? We're not even going to beat around the bush. We're going to get right into it. My prediction for the World Champion in 2025 is Charles Leclerc. Now, it may be the addition of Lewis Hamilton. It may be just the pure unadulterated aura marinating in. Emanating is the word I was trying to think of from Maranello. It could just be enough to push Ferrari to a World Drivers' Champion once again. It would be absolutely historic for them, as well as just the press and everything that's going on with the Hamilton edition, with the how they ended 2024 on a high note and how they're looking to continue to improve. I think it could put them in a good position to battle for the World Drivers' Champion. And it feels like it's all lining up, and I think Charles is going to come out on top. It's going to get interesting. It's going to be very, very fascinating all season long. I think this season could be one of, if not the most entertaining that I think we've ever watched. And I think the last year currently holds that crown. I think 2025 could be even better. So here we go. Starting off with the bang. Charles Leclerc, my pick for World Drivers' Champion. Moving right along to my pick for Constructors Champion, I am going with the papaya-clad McLaren team, the team from Woking, because this just feels like another one of those seasons where we'll see a split between the Drivers' Champion and the Constructors' Champion. I think it's going to be a season-long battle up and down the grid, and I'm excited to see it come down to the wire, because I do think it's going to come down to the wire. But it also feels like one of those things where it just feels like McLaren, after how they ended in 2024, having the best car for a majority of the season, I think going into a new fresh season, knowing that they're going to be fighting towards the very, very, very front of the grid, is going to put them in a good position to fight for the Constructors title. I think also having a driver pairing like Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri will put them in good position to routinely score decent points every weekend without making too many major mistakes. And so I think that'll put them right in the opportunity to take home the Constructors Championship once again. It'll be interesting to see. I'm so interested to see who the battle of the top 3 or 4 teams really comes down to. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And it feels like it's gonna be decided, I think, right at the very end. But I do think McLaren is gonna pull it out. Moving right along, we are chugging along through this already. We're moving on to our best of the rest in the Drivers' Championship. And for this one, I've gone with Lando Norris. If my prediction of McLaren winning the Constructors is going to come true, then I think Lando is going to have to perform very, 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 very well once again, like we saw him do in 2024, where he also finished P2 in the championship. I think it's going to help lead them to a Constructors title. But I do think at the end of the season, I think just for some reason that Charles is going to come out on top in the Drivers' Championship. So de facto, I think think that has to mean Lando comes in second. Based on what we saw from Ferrari and from McLaren towards the end of last year, I think it's really going to come down to who can get off to a good start and that key critical upgrade period, who can bring the right upgrades to round out this era of regulations the best, and see might just determine who comes out on top in both. And so if I have Charles winning the drivers championship, I think it has to mean that Lando, you're coming in second. I apologize, it's got to be frustrating, but that's just what I think is going to happen. I flip that coin right around, best of the rest in the constructors, and I'm going with Ferrari in this one. I think it would be hard pressed to see a World Drivers' Championship not also lead to fighting for the constructors. And so if I have McLaren, kind of the flip side of the drivers, if I have McLaren winning the constructors, I think I have to have Ferrari winning the best of the rest for the constructors. Having a teammate pairing like Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, I think will go a long way in this battle. I think the things that might hold Ferrari back the most from really truly challenging in the constructors might be Lewis Hamilton's qualifying pace. We saw in his last couple of years at Mercedes that he didn't truly have that same qualifying pace we had seen out of him in the past. Now that might flip on its head immediately. We truly do not understand how bad that Mercedes is in a qualifying perspective, but we did see George Russell perform pretty well in qualifying, and Lewis just not quite able to hold stuff as well. And so if we're going to have Charles battling at the front, it might just come down to Lewis's qualifying, because we know his race pace is really good, but that could turn a Q2 exit into a P6, or if he actually gets his qualifying sorted out, we could see him start P6 and finish. Basically, the sky is the limit at that point. So I think this is going to be one of those things where that Ferrari just might not have enough over the full race season to take the constructors. But it also just kind of has the vibe of like, wouldn't this be the most Ferrari thing in the world, right? Like you put out a World Drivers Champion, but you fail to get the Constructors Championship at the same time. So I think just because of that aspect and that angle, it almost feels like this is even more of the correct choice. Let's move on to what I think could actually be one of the more interesting and difficult predictions to make, which is our number of individual race winners going on in this year. And I have gone with the number 7, which feels like a bit ambitious, but there's something in the air about this season that I think we could see one of the more balanced, results across the entire season. So I am going with 7 individual race winners, and I'm even going to call my shot. Let me reference my notes here. I have Lando Norris with a win, Oscar Piastri, Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, George Russell, and my 7th pick, Pierre Gasly. There is just something in the air about Pierre. I think we saw him have these incidents in the past, like obviously with his lone race win so far in Monza, and we saw last year in Brazil, where it's like for whatever reason Pierre just always seems to find himself in those positions to take advantage. And I feel like there's going to be one race this year. I could not tell you where it's going to happen, but I think we might see a Hungary 2021 situation where something absolutely bonkers happens and the order gets shaken up from top to bottom. And keep that in mind, because my one crazy prediction I think is going to lean into that pretty heavily as well. It's going to get fascinating. I'm calling my shot here. We're trying to be a little different. I think 6 is a safe pick, just because both McLarens, both Ferraris, Max Verstappen, and George Russell feel like all capable of definitely winning a race this year, depending on the situation. But I just, for whatever reason, feel like there's going to be that one surprise 7th winner that's really going to have people talking at the end of the season. And I think it's going to come from a race situation, maybe potentially more than a true skill situation. But at the same time, I feel like it's going to happen, so I got to go with my gut. We've arrived at our final prediction. Our one crazy prediction for the entire season, and I have gone about as crazy as I think I ever have in one of these one crazy predictions, because I couldn't go this entire prediction without mentioning my team, my favorite team, Haas F1 team, MoneyGram Haas F1 team. And so my one crazy prediction is going to be centered around them. I would be over the moon and back if this prediction came true, which is why I'm full send. And it kind of leans into what I mentioned in the last prediction with our individual race winners, which is that I think there's going to be a race this year where something absolutely hits the fan. It gets absolutely wild from top to bottom, and we see some crazy, crazy results. My one crazy prediction for the 2025 Formula One season is that Haas F1 team will get its first podium in team history this season, which is going to be absolutely bonkers to see if it does happen, but I manifesting more than any going into this year. We saw Haas perform pretty decently last year. If they can manage to take another step forward this year and something crazy were to happen, a la Hungary, a la Monza, we might just see something like this come to fruition. What would you guys think? Do you think it's even possible that Haas near a podium this year? You never know. Crazier things have happened. But guys, there we have it. Our 2025 season predictions are officially on the cards, and we will wait and see how this goes by the time 2025 ends. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what your predictions are for the 2025 season down in the comment section below. As always, if you haven't already, subscribe. We'd love to have you join our little community. And if you enjoyed the video and you made it this far, give the video a like. It really helps me out. You guys have no idea. And then once again, I'll mention it again, if you're interested in joining our predictions challenge, join the Discord down below, get involved, get in early, because it's going to be a season-long battle to see who comes out on top. I hope you guys are excited for the 2025 F1 season. I know I am. I cannot wait for preseason testing to start. And then from there, it'll just be a few short weeks before the lights go out in Melbourne, Australia. I appreciate everyone who made this far into the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.